Right, what have we got this week in movies? We've had some stuff come out of Spider-Man: Homecoming. A lot of new stuff, actually. Loads of different actors being cast in roles we don't quite know, but a couple of them that were of particular interest to our community, anyway. First, I want to talk about a guy called Donald Glover.
That was great.
What do you mean?
Our Community. Donald Glover was in Community. That
Yeah.
was great. How? That was
I don't
awesome.
even know. Maybe it was a subconscious thing.
Oh, that was perfect.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Are you guys community watchers?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, Alex,
I will be.
Oh,
I will do, but
Community's
oh yeah.
amazing.
you've got to watch it because it's so full of like pop culture stuff
Mm.
and film. Uh, well, references, I guess, is the word. It's just so chock full of stuff that our generation loves. There's no way you won't enjoy it. It's absolutely fantastic.
And there's a completely meta character in it, which just makes the show so much better.
Yeah. So Donald Glover was subject of an interesting campaign. This was probably 6 or 7 years ago, when there was a big movement for him to be cast as the new Spider-Man instead of Andrew Garfield. I say big movement. It was a loud internet corner, and it was a case of it became like a diversity issue. But they made a little joke about it on Community when he woke up in his Spider-Man pajamas at the beginning of season 2, which was entertaining. And really, that's all it's been since. But shortly after that, Miles Morales was introduced into the comic books, and we saw that it doesn't matter who it necessarily is in the onesie. Spider-Man can be lots of different people, and he can make it work. And so much so that Spider-Man is now in the main comics universe, and arguably is the better book. So casting him is a really nice move to nod to fans that they heard them loud and clear, and I think just to give Donald Glover a role in a property that he really loves. So it's quite nice. It'd be interesting to see who he plays. Have you got any thoughts on who he might?
Okay,
Go on, then,
right.
Scott. I'm ready.
I can't take full credit for this. So shout out to Grace Randolph beyond the trailer. She came up with this. At least I think she did. And I'm sold on this because there's also been another casting of someone from Fargo season 2. So Donald Glover is a bit too old to be Miles Morales now.
Just a bit,
Especially
yeah.
in terms of building a franchise, and you've got Tom Holland. It would be really weird if Donald Glover was looking up to Tom Holland as an idol and stuff.
Yeah.
So Donald Glover is too young to be Miles Morales' dad as well. So what Grace was on about, and what I'm like super sold on this, is Donald Glover's the Prowler.
Yeah.
The guy from Fargo 2 is his dad. So then you have Donald Glover being part of Miles Morales' origins, which is,
Yeah.
I'm not going to butcher the guy from Beast of no Nation's name, but he's the right age, and yes, he's perfect for Miles Morales. He's a great actor. If you watch Beast of no Nation, Kevin Tan would not shut up about it on the Outliers podcast. So if Donald Glover's Prowler, you got the guy playing his dad from Fargo. So you got him as Miles Morales. You set up his origin. You don't have him become Spider-Man, obviously, in the first movie. You
Yeah.
just set up this whole origin thing. Because in the Ultimate Universe, he goes in, and then the Prowler breaks in, gets the what is it he gets? I can't remember what it gets. But then a spider gets into it, and then when he goes and visits his uncle, then he's eating the ice lolly, and then it bites him.
Yeah. The Prowler was stealing the formula from Oscorp, wasn't he?
That was
Is that
yeah,
what it was? So for the uninitiated, yeah, the other person that's been cast is Abraham Attah from Beast of No Nation, a young lad who does have some resemblance to Miles. I mean, Miles is what's the politically correct term?
African American.
No, well, he's got He's multi-origin.
Oh, he's Puerto Rican, isn't he?
He's got like Hispanic heritage as well. His on his mother's side, yeah, they're Hispanic, and his father's side are Black American, and so whether that's the route they're going, it is a very interesting route. I would love to see Miles on the big screen.
They have to, right? You can't not have this. You've got Donald Glover, which is obviously a massive nod to that whole "we heard you."
The signs are certainly there. I don't know how they can make him a part of the first Spider-Man story and give it much attention, because you really got to make this all about Tom Holland and his growth as that character. For the people who don't know Miles' origin, is that basically Spider-Man is his Uncle Ben. Miles gets these powers and doesn't want anything to do with them. He's quite afraid to use them. His dad is very averse to like mutant community and powered people, and it's ingrained in Miles. And so when he gets these powers, and any other kid would be really excited, he's just really scared of them. And when
He also has camouflage powers.
Yeah, so he has a few different powers to Spider-Man, including he can camouflage. He's got this like stinger thing that Spider-Woman has, but the way it happens is Spider-Man dies, and Miles is kind of overcome with this power and responsibility idea that it's passed on to him through another proxy. From Peter Parker's life, and that's what inspires him to actually put the suit on in the first place. And so if they're going to stay true to that origin, then maybe Miles is going to be like more of a background character in these films until that point, if that point comes about. It's certainly interesting that they're thinking about it this early, if that's what they're doing. It could all be...
That's the right way to do it. Introduce him, like have them be friends or something. And then maybe like as he dies, he learns that Peter is Spider-Man, which would be that catalyst of being, holy crap, my friend's been doing this whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're just talking about a long way off. I mean, even if
it's a long way. We're talking the end of maybe the third film there, and it seems awfully early to introduce Miles. It seems
maybe not. I like how midway through the second one, you have this Spider-Man moment where the burst did the birth thingy, and then Peter dies in the second one. That'd be a shock. That's something we haven't seen on screen before. That'd be something everyone would be talking. And then you have
we have, and that we're going to talk about it later on. And if you give too much, if you've only got a limited amount of screen time, you can't have too many big characters on screen.
True.
It's difficult.
It works with an ensemble movie, but if you've got Spider-Man: Homecoming, Tom Holland is the new Spider-Man, and he needs some dedicated time, not where you've got people in the audience nudging each other, going, "Oh, it's Miles, it's Miles." That's not going to work. Just like when we get to it later on, it's just like Justice League, Batman vs Superman. Just that was the problem there. You got too many big faces in, even though it was set up to be an ensemble movie, it didn't work.
Yeah,
because there just wasn't enough dedicated time. And I don't think it'd work with Spider-Man. So I want it to be Miles because I really like Miles, but I don't want it to be in the same voice, because he deserves his own property and he deserves to be focused on as a character. Same as Peter Parker.
Well, what if this is just because obviously Sony are going ahead with this animated Spider-Man movie. What if it's Miles gets set up in this movie, even if it's post-credit, whatever, he gets bit, and then in the post-credit scene of the movie, and then his story is in the animated movie, and then comes into it, and then you've got Miles having his own movie. Yeah, it's animated, but people have done that. I don't know. It'd be an interesting direction.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, the difficulty is making the. I really like the idea of Miles' origin being linked to Peter's death. And it's hard to have one without the other. They might go a different route. I'd be upset if they did, but maybe they've got a better way of doing it than I know about. I'm certainly really interested. Probably this is other than Guardians 2, the film I'm most excited to see out of Marvel.
Well, it's not as if what's it called? It's we don't have this Peter Parker's origin. We don't need this Peter Parker's origin. So then you could have that time. Well, not all of it, obviously. You know what I mean? Then you could have the setup for Miles in that movie, where you don't have to spend time. Uncle Ben died. Oh, please don't show Uncle Ben dying for a third, fourth time, whatever it is at this point.
But your Uncle Ben in this movie is Tony Stark.
Tony Stark's not going to die.
No, but he's in this movie as the guiding voice. He's going to be the one that's going to be sitting behind there. And again, you can't have Robert Downey Jr., Tom Holland, and then cast somebody else as a main character. Because if you're going to tie in Peter Parker and Miles' stories together this early on, they need to be tied in properly. They can't do half a job with it. And Marvel aren't going to let that happen either. They've got pride in their work, and they're not going to look at what Warner have done with Justice League and go, "Hey, that's a brilliant idea. We'll do that." No, they're gonna look at exactly what happened in Batman vs Superman and say, "No, we can't possibly do that. It's not going to work." Yeah. So, I think having Miles in as a character isn't a bad step. Acknowledging the fact that he exists early doors, put them in the same school, whatever. Maybe opposing teams at a science fair. That's recently popped up in Miss Marvel. That sort of thing could happen, and then just acknowledge that he exists, and then put him in the background for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have him
one crackpot theory. Someone's breaking into Oscorp. Spider-Man comes along. It's the Prowler breaking in, getting the formula. This is the start of the movie. You start in with an action scene. He's getting away. Vulture stops Spider-Man. There you go. You got the Spider-Man-Vulture conflict, which is in the movie. Prowler gets away with a thing, which can lead to that. That's cool. I'm done. I will stop.
Right. Well, aside from anything else, by all accounts, Abraham Attah is a fantastic young actor, so it's a great bit of casting. The cast for this is turning out to be stellar so far. So it's all good signs, regardless of what direction they choose to go in story-wise.